Hello dear students, I am your physics teacher Vinod Saini. I welcome you all at your favorite YouTube channel Vigyan Vihan. In our last video, we have studied about the logarithmic methods for solving complicated mathematical problems. In that video, we have learned a lot about mathematical problem solutions and the formulation of logarithm. Also, we have learned how to find out any numerical value of logarithm and antilog from the logarithmic table and antilog table. If you want to watch that video, its link is given in the I button above. In this video, we are now learning about the calculus method, which is very much important in physics. In this video, we are learning first part of calculus, which is derivative. The derivative is very much used for finding out the slope of tangent on any point of curve. Also, the derivative gives the instantaneous rate of change in the function with respect to the independent variable x. Dear students, let's start this lesson. Independent variable x is such that it does not depend on any other quantity. It is called independent variable. It is denoted here like x. For example, time is a independent variable. Another quantity is such that velocity, acceleration may depend upon the time changing. Then these quantities which depend upon an independent variable are called dependent variable. The quantity y depends on x and it has some relation with the independent variable x. The y in that condition is called dependent variable and y is called function of x such that y is equals to ax square or y is equals to sine of x. In these conditions, y is called function of x. Dear students, the process by which we find out the derivative of any function is called differentiation. If we want to find out derivative of fx with respect to x, then f dash x is calculated as f of x plus h minus fx upon h, or we can write here x plus h minus x in the lower part and the limit is here h tends to 0. In that condition, my dear students, the derivative of fx with respect to x gives you the instantaneous rate of change in fx, the function f with respect to the independent quantity x, the instantaneous rate of change of y with respect to x. Dear students, the second application of derivative is to find out the slope of tangent at any point of the given curve or function. If there is a function like y is equal to a upon x plus b, if we want to find out the slope of the tangent at any point of this curve, then we will have to find out the derivative of y with respect to x. Then y dash will give you the slope of tangent is nothing but the tangent of the acute angle theta, the tangent of the angle theta which is made by the line from the positive x-axis, such that if a straight line is drawn like this, is y is equals to mx plus c, the m is nothing but the slope of the line, which is equal to tan theta when theta is the angle made by this straight line from the positive x-axis. So now you can understand this is also an application of derivatives in common derivations of physics. Now we are going to learn the basic properties of derivatives by which we can get the derivatives of complex mathematical functions. Dear students, if you want to get the derivative of a function which is multiplied with some constant quantity c, then the derivative of c multiplied with fx is equal to the c constant comes out, it is multiplied with the derivative of function f. If we want to get the derivative of a constant quantity, the constant quantity's derivative with the change in x is equal to 0, because the derivative gives the value of instantaneous rate of change in function, but the constant quantity does not change with the independent quantity x. For addition or subtraction of two given functions, also these functions are multiplied with another constants a and b, then the differentiation or the derivative of a fx plus minus b gx, it is equal to a f dash x. F dash x is derivative of fx plus minus b multiplied with g dash x. G dash x is derivative of gx. There are some notations which are used in different textbooks for derivatives. Derivative of y with respect to x is denoted by capital D of y. It is also denoted by y dash for first derivative. For second derivative we write here y double dash. For second derivative in this notation we write d2y. In general notation we write it as d upon dx of y for first derivative. For second derivative we write here d2y upon dx square. This is a notation, but if you have a condition like dx upon dx, you cannot cancel out dx to dx, but as the result we get the value 1 here, that is the coincidence. Now if we want to find out the derivative of product of two different functions of x, fx multiplied with gx, if we want to get its first derivative, then it will be equal to the derivative of first function multiplied with second function plus the first function multiplied with the first derivative of second function. It is called the product rule. The quotient of two different functions of x, then fx upon gx, the first derivative of fx upon gx, it is equal to the first derivative of f multiplied with second function g minus first derivative of g multiplied with the first function f. It is divided by the square of the second function, which is here in the lower part of this quotient. This is g square. It is the quotient rule. The last formula in these relations we have here, if a function f is function of another dependent function of x, in that condition the first derivative of f with respect to x can be calculated by the first derivative df upon dg with respect to dependent function g here multiplied with the derivative of dependent function g with respect to x. It is called the chain rule. Dear students, before applying these rules in derivatives, we will first learn the applications of derivatives. This is an important application of derivatives by which we can get maxima and minima of any function in the given range. Necessary condition for finding maxima or minima at any points at which the function have its maximum value or minimum value, we will get the first derivative of that function and its value will be equal to 0 at these points at which the function have its maxima or minima. Then we will find out these points at which the first derivative have the 0 value. These points are called maxima and minima. Then we will find out the function's second derivative, which can be denoted by f double dash x. For maxima value, the f double dash value will be less than 0 or it is negative, but at minima the value of second derivative of this function will be greater than 0 or it will be positive. It is to identify the conditions of maxima and minima, or which one of these points are maxima and which one is minima. Dear students, we will have to learn some formulations before using the derivatives and before applying these formulas in our calculations and derivations. Dear students, if we want to find out the first derivative of x, use the basic principle to finding out the first derivative of x. Then the function of x plus h means I will use this function x and write here x plus h minus f of x. So minus x upon only h here, so it is h. Then I will calculate it and use the limit h tends to 0. Now it is limit h tends to 0 and here x and x part is cancelled, so it is here h upon h, it is equal to 1. If h tends to 0, then also we will get 1. And this is the first derivative of x. With respect to x, it has the value 1. For the function fx is equals to x square. Dear students, I suggest you to please pause this video and note down all these formulas and rules in your notebook for revision and reference purpose. I will give you some practice problems and apply these formulas and laws. It will be beneficial for you. Dear students, if we want to find out the first derivative of x square, in that condition the f of x plus h, so we will write here x plus h square minus fx, that is x square upon h, and limit is here h tends to 0. It will give you the first derivative of this function. Now expand this function, x square plus 2 of xh plus h square minus x square upon h. X square part is cancelled out. Use here limit h tends to 0. Now simplify this equation and we will get 2x plus h. After applying this limit h tends to 0, then put here h is equal to 0. We will get here 2x plus 0, that is equal to nothing but 2x. We get here dx square upon x is equal to 2x. The power comes forward and the power of x is less than the power in the function. If we want to get the derivative of x power n, here also we apply the same method to find out its derivative. The power comes before and the power of x is 1 less than the power in the function. So dx power n upon dx is equal to n x power n minus 1. In the next formulas, we will not use this method to find out the derivatives because we will have to apply these formulas directly in physics. Dear students, now we will directly learn these formulas for our applications in problem solutions. The first derivative of sin x is equal to cos of x. If we want to find out the derivative of sin of x or cos of x, then we will have to use the series of sin and cos. We have learnt about the sine and cos series in our second video, which was about the trigonometric functions and the trigonometric functions series. If you are interested to watch that video, its link is given in the I button above. Dear students, if we use the series of sine function and get its derivative by parts and using this method for two different functions in addition or subtraction, we will get first derivative of sine of x is equal to cos of x, but the first derivative of cos of x is sine of x but with the negative sign. Now if we know that the first derivative of sine of x is equals to cos of x, if you want to get the derivative of sine of x or cos of x, in that condition you will have to use this chain rule. According to that, if you want to get d upon dx of sine of ax, it is equal to the cos of this function, then we will use this ax is nothing but another function gx, then write down here d of f, but what is f? F is nothing but sine of ax. It is the dependent function, multiply it with the dg, g is nothing but ax, so it is d of ax upon final dx, because this dependent function ax is also function of x. Then we can replace this ax with another term y, d sine of y upon dy, multiply it with the dax upon dx. A is multiplied with the x. If we want to get its derivative, then use this first rule where the function is multiplied with some constant quantity. The constant comes out and we will multiply it with the function's first derivative. The derivative of x with respect to x is equal to 1. Now the problem is solved. The first derivative of sine y with respect to y will be equal to cos of y. The cos of y is multiplied with a multiplied with 1, because dx upon dx is equal to 1. It is now multiplied with cos of y, but y quantity is ax. So finally we get here a multiplied with cos of ax. The first derivative of sine of ax is equal to a multiplied with cos of ax. If you want to get the first derivative of cos of ax, that will be equal to minus a multiplied with sine of x. The first derivative of tan x is equal to sec square x. The first derivative of sec x is equal to tan x multiplied with sec x. Then first derivative of cot x is negative sine cosec square x. The first derivative of sine inverse x. D upon dx sine inverse x is equal to 1 upon square root of 1 minus x square. We have learnt about the inverse trigonometric functions in our third video about hyperbolic trigonometric functions, inverse trigonometric functions and their applications. If you want to learn the concepts about inverse trigonometric functions, the video's link is given in the I button above. The differentiation of cos inverse x with respect to x is equal to 1 upon square root of 1 minus x square but with the negative sign. The difference between the derivative of sine inverse x and cos inverse x is only the negative sign. Dear students, if you can remind that we have learnt about the inverse trigonometric function sine inverse x plus cos inverse x is equal to pi by 2. If you get its first derivative, then sine inverse x first derivative plus cos inverse x first derivative is equal to 0 because pi by 2 is a constant quantity. In that condition, the first derivative of sine inverse x is equal to negative of first derivative of cos inverse x. That condition is fulfilled in these formulas. If you want to get the first derivative of exponential function, then first derivative of e power x is equal to e power x only. The first derivative of a power x is equal to a power x multiplied with the natural log of a. A is the base of this exponent here. The last formula which I have written here is the first derivative of natural log of x is equal to 1 upon x. Dear students, I have written here and explained only these much formulas which are required to get the complete knowledge of physics and which are very used in the physics derivations, and it is the general view and these are general formulas. If we apply these formulas and these rules, then we can get the derivatives of 90% of functions which are used in physics. I am giving you some examples by which you can understand the applications of derivatives in your problem solutions. First, we will get the first derivative of a function y is equal to 1 upon x. Now, we can write it y is equal to x power minus 1. In that condition, y dash is equal to d upon dx of x power minus 1. The minus 1, its power will come forward. It will be multiplied with the x power 1 less than the power in the original function. So minus 1, then you will have x power minus 2, or you can write it as minus 1 upon x square. It is the first derivative of 1 upon x. D upon dx of 1 upon x is equal to minus 1 upon x square. Now you can find out the derivative of a function like 1 upon x cube or x cube upon 3 or x power n upon n. In our next video, we will learn about the integration which is the reverse process of differentiation, an essential part of mathematics which is called calculus. Now dear students, I will give you another examples. If you want to find out the differentiation of 1 upon square root of x square plus 1. If you want to find out its first derivative with respect to x, we can write it as d upon dx x square plus 1 power minus 1 by 2. But this is another function of x. This is the condition here, gx is equal to x square plus 1 and f of g is equal to g power minus 1 by 2. G is another dependent function of x. Use this chain rule to get its derivative. Now, after applying, we will get the derivative of this function with respect to g. Then g power minus 1 by 2 with respect to g, multiply it with d, the function g, which is nothing but x square plus 1 in form of x upon dx. Use the second rule in which we can get the derivative of a function which is in addition or subtraction of two different functions. Then get the derivatives of these two functions and add them. The derivative of x square is 2x from here, and derivative of 1 is 0 because 1 is a constant quantity. Then we can write it as only 2x, and derivative of g power minus 1 by 2 with respect to g, then this power will come forward minus 1 by 2 multiplied with g power 1 less than this power, so it is g power minus 3 by 2. Now we can replace this g with the original function x square plus 1 and we will get here minus x upon x square plus 1 power 3 by 2. So this is the method which we can use to find out derivatives of complex mathematical functions. In general manner, the derivatives is used in physics, mechanics. If a function which can define the position of any particle or object with respect to time, the function will give you r vector as function of time or x as function of time like at plus u. Then after the derivative of this function we will get its velocity or speed. When we get the second derivative of this position we will get its acceleration. We will use these applications in our second chapter of physics of mechanics in linear motion. Dear students, now I will give you a brief explanation how we can use the derivative to find out maxima and minima. Dear students, if position of an object is function of time such that x is equal to 3 multiply with time plus 4, then you can get the instantaneous value of its speed. The instantaneous speed v can be calculated by the first derivative of this position with respect to time. Then we will find out the derivatives of these two functions with respect to time, and then we will add them. D upon dt, differentiation of the first function plus differentiation of the second function for the derivative of 4 is equal to 0 because the derivative of a constant quantity is always equal to 0. The derivative of 3t will be equal to 3, which is multiplied with the derivative of t with t. So 3 multiplied with 1 plus 0, that is equal to 3. So the speed of this particle will not change with the time. If we want to find out the acceleration of this particle, then we will have to find out second derivative of this position with respect to time, d2x upon dt square. Then we will get the derivative of speed with the time, dv upon dt. So the derivative of 3 with respect to time, there is no change in velocity with the time, so the acceleration quantity is equal to 0. There is no acceleration in this motion of particle. We will apply these notations and these formulas in our second chapter, which is for the linear motion. In that chapter we will study in detail all these quantities like velocity, speed, acceleration, displacement and distance also. Now I will give you a brief explanation how can we use the derivative for application to find out the maxima and minima of any given function. For example, if we have a function f of x, the function is nothing but sine of ax. If we want to find out the maxima and minima of this function, then first we will have to find out its first derivative. From these formulas I know that the first derivative of sine of x is equal to a cos of ax. Find out the value of x for which f dash x is equal to 0, then this function is equal to 0, a cos of ax is equal to 0 for some values of x, but this quantity a is not equal to 0, then cos of ax is equal to 0. But we know that for the angle theta is equal to pi by 2, 3 pi by 2, 5 pi by 2, 7 pi by 2 with plus minus sign for all these angles and so on. The value of cos of ax is equal to 0, or we can write theta is equal to plus minus 2n plus 1 pi by 2 for n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So for these values we have the cos ax is equal to 0, so we can write here ax is equal to plus minus 2n plus 1 pi by 2. But we will have to recognize and identify for which values the given function have the maximum value or minimum value. To find out it, we will have to get the second derivative of the given function. The second derivative of this given function fx is equal to the second derivative of sine of ax. It is equal to d upon dx. The first derivative of this function a cos ax, it is equal to now with minus sign a square sine of ax. This quantity sine of ax will have different values of positive pi by 2 and negative pi by 2. Then we will have to find out for which quantities this second derivative have the negative value. Dear students, if I put here the values sine of pi by 2, 5 pi by 2, in that condition we will get the negative value here. So if we get the negative value of second derivative, this is the condition of maxima. The function was given fx is equal to sine of ax. Its first derivative f dash x is equal to a cos of ax. The second derivative of this function is equal to minus a square sine of ax. Now dear students, for pi by 2, 5 pi by 2, 9 pi by 2, 13 pi by 2, and for negative angles minus 3 pi by 2, minus 7 pi by 2, minus 11 pi by 2, the sine of x will have positive value, but this function's second derivative f double dash will have negative value. The function have positive value, the second derivative will have negative value. That is the condition of maxima. But the angles which are remained here, like minus pi by 2, minus 5 pi by 2, minus 9 pi by 2, minus 13 pi by 2, so on, and for the positive angles 3 pi by 2, 7 pi by 2, 11 pi by 2, and so on, the value of this function is negative and the value of the second derivative is positive. That is the condition of minima. Dear students, I will give you some practice problems. You can download this formula sheet from the Google Drive link which is given in the description below. You can download the practice problems sheet from Google Drive link which is also given in description. The solutions link of these problems is given at the bottom of the problem sheet. Keep practicing, keep learning. The problem solving is always a fun. Dear students, if you like this video, please like and share it with your friends. I thank you for watching this video till the end. If you are new for this channel, then please subscribe it and don't forget to tap on bell icon and opt for the option for all videos. Thank you.